lessons from history. It doesn't necessarily mean hundreds or thousands of years ago. It can actually mean very recent. What you don't do today is lost and it becomes history. What you do today is history by tomorrow. On the 23rd of June 2016, an historic vote took place. About 72% of the electorate eligible to vote came out and voted whether we leave or remain in the European Union. It's the largest turnout since 1992, the election of John Major. And it was a display, and the campaign was a display of democracy, what they call direct democracy, the people saying on a major constitutional issue what they think should happen in our country and in our future relations with Europe, specifically the EU. What's interesting to me is that there was no mention whatsoever of the spiritual character of Britain or Europe, of our spiritual identity, our Christian traditions, the Judeo-Christian traditions that built a very stable society, a tolerant, caring society that created the big society. It came from a clear path of battles for truth and for righteousness and for justice. No mention whatsoever about it. The economy, we were hammered with economic arguments day after day after day. It proved how the media can be manipulated. We had every day a chase by the different camps to win the media agenda for the day. And in the end, a large part of the electorate decided that the Project Fear, as Boris Johnson called it, was really like the boy crying wolf. If every day the boy is saying there's a wolf up there, there's a wolf up there, eventually people say, well, I don't believe it anymore. And it doesn't matter whether it's Christine Lagarde or whether it's, you know, the IMF, the World Bank, even the Governor of the Bank of England. If everyone is saying it day after day after day, it just shows that there is a diminishing return, whatever the weight of the argument or the weight of the person putting it. What is tragic is that very narrow arguments were presented, which is possibly the nature of campaigning, and obscured the central argument. The central argument is freedom and identity. It remains to be seen in this great democratic process that we have now after the referendum, whether we can regain a stable mindset in terms of where the country should be going. There's opportunism, there's personalities, there's ambition, but we eventually need to get back to what is the character of our country. How do we relate to one another in our communities? How do we strengthen the family? How do we build up Christian character in children through their education so they can grow up to be citizens and contribute to the future of society? These are the great issues of state. And the tragedy is that because of cynicism and media manipulation, we get to a point where they're not even mentioned or discussed. And of course, there's an economic chaos ensuing. Just remember, democracy is not a value. Democracy works if it's based on integrity and deep spiritual values which are derived from the Christian scriptures.